Yeah, thank you. Go ahead, Jared.
So I just wanted to get a little bit of insight and a little bit of clarity about death and what does it consist of and what is after that.
All right.
You know, I just want
that
clarity.
depends a lot.
I'm going through a lot right now.
Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, I know that you're going through a lot, but this too will pass, Jared. But there is no such thing as death, as far as finality, as far as like the final thing, like it's all over. Death is just a transition point where we ascend, tab back from one plane to the next. You're aware of the fact that we have 7 salary stages of our own self, as far as the physical form you see in the mirror, the force field you, the spiritual you, the soul you, the etheric you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do you think that at physical death, as you describe it, that your spirit and soul also stops right there?
No, not at all.
All right. Then now to put it in perspective, let's do this. Are you sitting down while you're at work?
Yes, I am.
Can you see another chair around there somewhere that you could sit in that's empty if you wanted to? Or another place?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want you to use your imagination and think hard. If you could imagine me putting your soul over in that other empty chair, your spirit, your thoughts, your personality, your imagination, your feelings, all your memories. If I could put all that over in the other chair there, your consciousness, what would be left here on the phone with me?
Nothing.
That's right. So what really constitutes Jared is not the thing you see in the mirror. It's the parts of you that I can't see. That's the animated parts of you, the real part, the aspects of you. Are you following me? That's what's really you. That's the God inside of you. When he created you a sound and clay of black mud, fashioned in a shape, blew his breath into your nostrils, and thus you became a living soul. The real Trinity, the Ankh, Ban, Ka, the soul, spirit, and etheric aspect of you. That's Jared. The real you, that's projecting the illusion of a physical body, right?
Right.
Okay. So, who are you creating the image and likeness of?
God.
Exactly. Can God die?
No.
Can you see God or touch God?
No.
So, the aspects of you that's creating the image and likeness of God, is it the physical thing you see in the mirror? Or the parts of you that are really relevant that I just described sitting over in the other empty chair? The inner being. Okay, so that's God.
Yeah.
So God is not a physical man then, because if he's omnipresent, what does omnipresent mean?
He's everywhere at all times.
Right. Can a physical being be everywhere at all times?
Not at all, no.
Okay, so the only part of you that's real is the part of you that the Creator, God, merely shares and you become, right? So the part of your nephew or your stepson that was physical in the car, does that mean that the real him is dead or ended?
No.
Boom, 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 boom. Right. That's right.
I feel his energy, though. I feel his energy, and it seems like when I'm at home sometimes, I can feel his energy there in the house. He has pictures and things of that nature up. She has like a little shrine for him.
Yeah, he'll probably leave pretty soon because... Yeah, he'll probably leave and go on soon because they have a lot more interest. Because, let me put it like this.
You know what, I think he has to protect. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I believe he has a connection, and why maybe he's still around, because I have a daughter. She's like 2 years old. They were very close. They share the same astrology sign. They were very, very, very close. And she's starting to notice that he's not around. And she even came to me and said, like, Dad, I have dreams, because she's very smart, even though she's 2 years old.
They're a lot smarter these days, right?
She told me, she tells me, yeah, they're a lot smarter these days. And she tells me all the time, like, she has dreams of them, like, every night.
Okay.
She wakes up in the morning, first thing she says when she wakes up.
What I'm trying to say is the expanded conscious part of him, the self-realization of returning to his long home and remembering who and what he is, he can't be too interested in this very long. Are you following what I'm saying? It'll become very boring.
Yeah.
Because when he was trapped inside the body like you and I are right now, he was very limited, you know. He was just that, like a genie trapped inside of a bottle. He was not one with all in an expanded conscious sense, right? So now he's been freed from his unclean cage. Are you following what I'm saying? Free to go on and experience a free and independent new life. Are you following what I mean?
Yeah.
He's excited, remembering all the things that he forgot. There's so much to do. There's so many exciting and wonderful things. You follow me? He's not trapped inside of this solid, excellent, time-bound physical world or shape thing anymore. You follow me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right. And he realizes now that he can never end. Neither did he have a beginning nor an end, okay? He can never cease to be what he is right now, always has been and always will be, God. Because that's the only thing here. Unless he rebels against that divine love and order, you follow? And kicked out of all the heavens. Say it again.
I said, I don't believe that he wanted that to be low as low. I think what you're saying is that's what he really wanted. So basically, he was just like a trapped soul in that physical
like
life.
us. Like us right now.
Yeah, like us. Yeah.
Right. Because you're being pulled downward by that body, by the flesh. The fleshly world pulls us downward. It invokes carnality, lust, and greed, and anger, and hatred, and judgment. You follow? It invokes all these negative attributes. You become the devil, the shade thing, the Satan in that body. You follow? Whereas that in the spiritual realm, everything in creation was beautiful. Remember? You know that. All there was divine love and order and truth and beauty. But when you drop down to the physical plane, when you saw a beautiful bird of paradise fly by, you wanted to hit it with a rock and knock it down so you could pluck it and cook it and ease the burning in your stomach from the stomach acids now that plague your body, you see? So you turned into a quasi-monster, you follow what I mean, by being here in that flesh. And all death is a school that you graduate from in ascension. Unless that you had adhered to the dark forces, then that opens the gates to hell. Yeah, he just had a stepson that ran with the wrong crowd in Chicago, and they were doing like excessive speed on the turnpike in a stolen car, and somebody hit them head on, and they were instantly killed. And he was real close to the lad and was trying to groom him and raise him up and teach him about the spiritual plane, and he's taking it real bad. You hear me?
All right.
Tell me what's on your mind, Terry. What kind of questions you have tonight?
Okay, well, I got two questions so far. The first question I want to know is his consciousness and spirit the same thing?
No. Consciousness produces spirit, right? In other words, all there is consciousness. Because in order to love, you have to be conscious as well. All is on that plank level. And all doesn't vibrate, but sets things into vibratory motion. All is supreme balancement or blackness. Infinite blackness. Infinite or infinite night, blackness. Now, this consciousness, it can set things into motion or vibration. Remember, I told you all before that the consciousness is, was, and always will be. Then at some point, it just shifted. And with that movement, that shift, it created the illusion of here and there. The point it shifted from to the point it stopped. Here and there, creating the illusion of distance, which created the illusion of time. Because if you travel from Baton Rouge, Louisiana to Georgia, it might take you 8.5, 9 hours, right?
That's right.
or you could say that's almost 900 miles, right?
Right. Right.
So whether you call it miles an hour or how many miles, how far is Georgia, you could say it's 900 miles away, or you could say it's about 9 hours away. Same thing, right?
That's right.
So with that movement, when it shifted, that point that it stopped, that was the point that all of you were imprinted in that point right there that it stopped, okay? All of the deities were imprinted at that very instant. You follow me, Terry?
Rahubat, this is Ryan.
Okay, okay.
Hey, glad to hear your voice, Ryan, and I hope you got your friend, you got 1,000 questions, you're going to be with us tonight. So when the shift stopped, you know, and now see, all we are now is just extensions of this infinite consciousness, right? Like tentacles come from an octopus.
Okay.
We all extend out the body of all, right? With the illusion being that there is no extension or here and there or now and then. Everything's in the same place at the same time, vibrating on different frequencies. There was just a conscious shift, a shift of consciousness, not a literal from point A to point B. You follow me?
Okay.
So all of us are just expressions of this one universal mind, the mother mind of all. Are you following me? That's what the imprint was when the shift stopped. Now, let's go back to your question again more directly.
Was consciousness and spirit the same thing?
No, consciousness creates spirit. What happens is that when consciousness invoked a vibration or a movement with that shift, it started spiraling downward in some points at the point when all of you were imprinted. You were like a vortex or a spiral down, like water. When you unplug the sink, it goes down in the vortex. Like if you're walking with a child in nature, and the child looks over at a stream, and there are little rocks on the bottom that cause the fast-running water to have little eddies in it, the fissures, little vortexes. And the child say, "Daddy, what is that?" You say, "Well, that's just a eddy or a vortex in the water because it's probably a pebble on the bottom that's causing it to spin like that." And the child with them as they say, "Well, I'm going to name that Charlie." See another one, I'm going to name that one Debbie. And now to their curiosity, they say, "What's that up there?" You say, "That's a squirrel." And then they look back at the water for Debbie and Charlie, and the water's calm and flat all over. And they say, "Where did they go?" You say, "They didn't go anywhere. All it was just a little vibratory impression in the water to create the illusion of separateness." But they were always water all the time. They were always all the time. But that little imprint right there created the illusion. See, you all are just vortex, magnetic vortexes. That's all, inside of all. And as you spin, it's vibration. So when you slow down in vibration, you become a living soul. You follow me? All the soul is congealed thought or consciousness. Thoughts have substance. Are you following me? You can feel thoughts. And as soul slows down and spirals down, it coagulates into what you call spirit. Right?
So,
and let me finish this. Let me finish this. So when the spirit slows down more, it really congeals into what you call the physical form. Solid, actual, and time-bound. This is as physical as you could possibly be right now. So, let's revisit this. When I said that thoughts have substance, you can feel something that has substance, right?
Right.
So you would say, well, Amun, how do you feel thoughts? How do you feel them? I'm going to use the same example so it'll be easier for you all to remember. If we drive in the car and I say, "Terry, because you're running there, there's two old ladies there expecting you. I told them that you were coming to pick up something, and you go to the door and introduce yourself. And they say, "Oh, son, we're so glad to see you." You know, they say all the right words, but you feel uncomfortable, right? like it's sweet words coming from hot mountains. You ever been around people that say all the right things, but you feel like it's not? You hear what they say, but you can feel what they really mean.
Right.
And that should have took you about 5 minutes to complete that, but you come right back in 30 seconds. I said, what's the matter? Did they say something wrong? You say, no, they didn't say anything wrong, but I could feel. I felt uncomfortable. You picked up the vibrations, right? The wrong vibes.
Right.
And you felt uncomfortable. So you can feel the vibrations of spirit and soul and people's intention, right?
Right.
Or if you're sitting in your living room and it's cool, 72 degrees, and you're talking with your friend or your significant other about pleasant things, then they go up to make a little lunch for you in the kitchen, and while they're gone, you start thinking about this brother or sister that really did some real ugly thing to you, really ugly. And then you automatically start getting upset, and the more you try not to think about it, the more you do. You know how that goes, right?
Right.
And the more you think about it, the more you'll come to leave. You start getting hot, mad, right?
Right.
And it gets out of control because they think they got away with that and this, that, and the other. You can think to yourself, I was good to this sister, this brother. Look how they did this, that. And you don't realize that your breathing is getting heavier, you see? And that perspiration is under your armpits. How are you? And then you got a little sweat on your forehead and your brow. You follow me? And you can feel the pulse in the veins in your temple. You know what I mean? And the person that's fixing the lunch comes back in and they notice the difference. And they say, what's the matter with you, Terry? Nothing, you know. And you be like, oh, no, I'm sorry. I wouldn't, you know, you want to say, I'm thinking about this so-and-so and what they do. You know what I mean? But if they feel your forehead, the temperature is actually a lot hotter. And you follow what I mean? Your heart is pumping faster, you know. So now that heat is viable. That's a form of energy. So those thoughts are creating energy. You follow what I'm saying? Making you hot, literally hot, right?
That's right.
So now if we take it and go down to the physical aspect of it, solid, actual, and time-bound, again, a native example is a cigarette. I can think of many examples, but I want to stay with it to keep you all remembered. The cigarette that you look at in your hand is solid matter, isn't it?
That's right.
But when you light the cigarette, the fire and heat are two forms of what? The heat and light, rather. That's exactly right. They're two forms of energy. So you can convert matter into energy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And you can convert thought into energy as well, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
So in essence, thought and matter are interchangeable, like in algebra. A plus B equals C, you know, that type of thing. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
Let me say it again. You see where thought does create energy, right?
Right.
And you can see that energy can create matter and matter can create energy, right?
Right.
Well, if matter and energy are interchangeable and thought and energy are interchangeable, that means that thought and matter are interchangeable. That's how you see through a thing being it is. It's all in your mind. So we have to make that journey within, like you were told over and over again by Malachi C. York. You have to learn to make that journey within and connect with the real you, the real Trinity, the Ankh, Ba, and Kadu, the ether, soul, and spirit, the immortal, eternal aspect of you, the omnipresent part of you, that allows me to give you all the ability to move stars, or for me to make mind links with people in Ghana and London, and they can move stars apart the clouds, and I can heal people from a distance by setting certain vibrations into effect and directing them. Or I can move the whole creation like I do every night, right? You follow me, Terry? Okay.
Yeah, I got you.
That's that oneness right there. But when I move stars, just like everybody in this class that moves stars, do you think they're doing with the physical aspect? There's some long-armed brothers and sisters, but they ain't Gumby. I don't think they're reaching stars. So what it is the greater part of them is beginning to be reactivated by this information. Are you following me? They're beginning to wake up and stir to the reality that they're not this body, they're not this situation, trapped in the mother of their flesh. They're only watching this happen from above, but they are indeed deities Okay, now, Terry, what I want to know is you're going to ask more to your question. Go ahead. Thank you for your patience.
Question. I had a question concerning the spirit and the soul. I
All
want
right.
to know what happens to the spirit and the soul of a person after a person dies, or where does the soul and spirit go after a person dies?
That depends on if a person really studied the etiquettes and graces and information of the spiritual plane, and they were an avid student about the spiritual, about making a journey within. Because if they believe, if you be around a person, a brother, sister, every time you bring up some spirit, they be like, oh, here you come with that mess again. Look, I'll be back with, all I need is money. You know what I'm talking about? They don't want to hear anything spiritual about the unseen when you start talking about the third eye and your aura and this and that and the other. They're not, people like that, right? They're not interested in that at all. They get very agitated with that. They want you to do like the white man say, come back down, when you get ready to come back down to earth. They mean physical, solid. You follow what I mean? Only. And don't talk what they call spookism. Don't talk about things that's not real to them. The only thing they believe in is things that they can see, hear, feel, smell, taste, or touch. So that would imply they don't really believe in God, you see. They're atheists. Which means they believe in God, contrary to popular belief. Because if you ask an atheist, do you believe in God? Their response would be, no, I don't believe in him. Oh, but he's a him. How do you know it's a him if you don't believe him?
Right, that's right.
But you see, they can't see God. They want to bring God down to a level of seeing with their physical eyes, and you know what I mean, being able to shake hands with him and put some shoes on him. They want him to be a bald-headed white man on a throne, or a nigga with red shoes, or so they want him to be something that they can relate to like that. But let's go back to the Bible that you're very familiar with. And it talks about faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things yet unseen. Through faith, we understand that the worlds were formed by the word of God, so that things that are seen were not made by things which do appear. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
But Reverend Rib, Deacon Portop, and Pastor Fried Chicken never tried to explain it because they can't. But let's walk through it. Faith or belief is the substance of things hoped for, like that first bicycle or car that you hoped for when you were coming up, and you kept getting magazines, seeing it, envisioning it, imaging it, this, that, and the other. And then you thought about it so much that one day you went outside and that bike or that car was there. I don't care if it was three-tone with ball tires, that hoopty, you had the keys to it. Remember that first car?
Yeah.
And you thought it was made out of leather and rubber and iron and steel, didn't you?
That's right.
It wasn't. It was made out of faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. And at the point before you had it, it's the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things at that point that still remained unseen, you see? And when you started driving that first car, you noticed that the same car you were driving, you saw it everywhere you went. And before you didn't see that. Your mind was in such a powerful creative move, creating them all over. Now, let's finish up. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things yet unseen. Now, through faith, we understand that the worlds were formed by the word of God, meaning the sun, moon, and stars in your hand on the phone were formed by the word of God. So the things that are seen, such as the moon and stars in your hand on the phone, were not made by things which do appear. Right? Through faith, we understand that the worlds were formed by the word of God, so the things that are seen were not made by things which do appear. Meaning, you could go outside tonight and you could point to the moon and the stars with your hand on the phone and say, I see that, it's right there, right? But now that's creation of what was made, right? But if I ask you, Terry, to point to the sky and show me the creator or the maker that put those stars there, can you say, there he is over there? And point?
No, you can't do that.
All right, so what we've established is that the real creator is unseen, right? But what he creates can be seen. But let me ask you a serious question right now. Which is realist? The creation or the creator of it? The made or the maker? Which is realist?
The one that made it.
That's right. So you know what you just confessed to yourself? That you know now that the unseen is realer than the seen.
Right.
So my point is, now we're all well versed in the spiritual plane, so that remembering that those that don't know the things that I'm teaching, those of you that are asleep in this, so shall you be in the next. You're not going to die and then wake up with epiphany and all of a sudden you understand all these things, right?
That's right.
All right. But you do follow me, right? What I'm saying is that the aspects of you that I can't see, Terry, are much realer than the ones that I can. You hear when I send you to class with Jared that you all are an enigma, meaning that, like I told him, if you see an empty chair in the house you're in right now, if you can imagine me putting your spirit over there, your conscience, your soul, your memories, your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, etc., all of that over in that other chair, what would be left on the phone here with us?
That's nothing.
That's right. That's what the body is. It's nothing but a fungus that's clinging to the light. A bacteria, a fungus clinging to the light. That's exactly right. So everything that constitutes you is nothing that you can see, touch, feel, none of that, right?
Right.
So that's what they mean when they say we are all created in the image and likeness of God. And people coming from a physical perspective were confused because you had Mexicans, white people, African, all kind of different looking people, men and women and children, all kind of different people were created in the image and likeness of God, but all the images were different, right? But we finding out that God is not the physical aspect of people. Judge not a book by its cover, for you soon discover it's the inside that will truly blow thee out, right? So it's not, God is not that part, it's not that part you can see and touch. God is the inner you, because every one of you have an inner vision, an inner hearing, and an inner heart, etc., right? So if somebody calls you, one of your children call you on the phone from college and get real disrespectful after all you did to raise them or what have you, that could break your heart, couldn't it? But you're not talking about that cow, that pump in your heart that pumps your blood, right? Not the physical muscle. You're talking about your emotional heart, right? But it still hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
And you can see things with your mind's eye because it has a much more powerful matrix, muscle matrix than the physical eyes. You can see a lot more with the all-seeing eye or the eye of all, right? Your physical eyes can't see through the walls and can't see your car parked outside right now, can they? But your mind's eye can. You can close your physical eyes and you can see your car parked in the driveway, your mother's face, and the front of your house upon approach from here right now, right? Or your best friend in the playground in the 3rd grade. And it's not just memory, because that's what they'll tell you. Because you've had dreams, and it was so clear and vivid that a week later something happened in front of you and your friend. You told, hey, I saw this in my dream a week ago. Remember that? How can you remember the future? But the all-seeing eye with a much more powerful muscle matrix, you can see the past through walls and the future. It can see all. It's not barred like the physical body, right?
Right.
And you have an inner hearing too, right?
That's right.
Have you ever been somewhere and working by yourself and you heard somebody that you love call your name Terry? And you say, yeah. And then you laughed at yourself and realized you was the only one there?
I guess so. Sometimes,
yeah, and sometimes the phone will ring and say, I just heard you call my name. Yeah, I was thinking about you, right? Or you sit around the table with some friends and y'all start talking, and then that negative friend came up with your auntie that raised hell, that uncle, and you heard a knock at the door, and you went to the door and pulled the blind back, and then you turned to the people and you was grinning when they in the kitchen say, you ain't gonna believe who this is. They gonna say, I know that's Joe, right? And you say, yep. We done talked this nigga up. Rahul back. I'm glad you're here. We done talked this nigga up, right?
I need to be here. I need to be here.
We all need to be here. I love you and welcome home, family.
I love all of y'all.
I love all of you too. I love you too. Believe that, because I know we're one.
I know that. I know.
There's only one thing out here. It's the Creator. The devil is trying to divide and conquer and point out differences, but differences create differences, right? Meaning, if we were all, what I'm saying is this: if we were all inside of a giant auditorium or gym inside of the middle of a large campus, and it was triple black in there at 2 o'clock in the morning, you couldn't see your hand before your face, and we just started communicating. We never met each other before. We wouldn't have any judgment, right? And then if you stand in that pitch black, you stand in that darkness long enough, you would start to blend into it where you wouldn't know where your body begins and the darkness ends, you start
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
blending right into it. And you would become the darkness. And everybody else would too. But all of a sudden, if somebody turned bright lights on, then you'd be saying, damn, that sure was a fat sister or ugly brother. I didn't know he was that old or you know what I mean? I can see she's poor. Look how she got months of the sock, and that brother got Brogade boots. You know, you got lint all this, ain't even come in, brush his teeth. Then he will start having, because these differences create differences, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So the light bred the chaos. Yes, the light bred the chaos, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So when we said Fed Lux or Corn Fire Corn, Saba and Noah, when we said let there be light, that's when all hell broke out.
Ooh.
And we're not creating an image and likeness of God by being a Creole or a Puerto Rican or a white man or this or that, the other, Terry, you hear me?
Hey.
Yes.
We're all identical and the same in the inner being, the real you, the eternal you. You know that God is not the physical flesh of a man or a woman because the body can die and God can't, right? Now let me ask you, how often does the spiritual aspect of you get hungry, Terry? Or cold? Or sick?
Never.
The spirit part? No, never.
Never, right. But the spirit is willing, but the flesh is what?
Weak.
Weak is sin. The flesh is the devil.
The flesh is weak.
It is very weak. It's weak as sin. It is very weak. And it'll drag you down with the hell if you pay any attention to it. Your desires rhyme with fire. Remember that. So what I'm saying is that when you think people die, it just ends this bacterial illusion. But it becomes the beginning of your return to your long home, to the reality of who and what you are, always have been, and always will be. God. Remember, the original creator is consciousness and divine love. The only reality. Everything else is mere illusion. You follow me? If all the stars were in my mind, how could I see every star in everybody else's mind, regardless of where they are geographically? Yes. I'm not all, because I'm not omnipresent. I love you. But all is everywhere, Ryan, at the same time. And you're right, but but so are you, Ryan. Our consciousness is all, yes, the expanded part of you. But what happens is that we get inside the physical. You're right, Ryan, but so are you. So are we all. But the thing is, when we spiral down to the physical form, when you're born, for example, that spiritual aspect of you is placed inside your mother and father 3 months before they come together in a conjugal sense. So that by the time they come together with a sperm and egg, you've already been inside of your mother and father for 3 months prior to that. They know that. That's why your birthday is every 12 months instead of every 9 months, because they know about the extra 3 months. So when you start germinating and splitting cells and you start going from a zygote, which is a reptilian with a tail and claws, into a Romardian or a gray, you know, like when you keep your hands underwater too long, they have that little gray. You become a gray with a big head. And then after that, you evolve in the final trimester into a Homo sapien. But just to let you know that you have the gray and the reptile in you, because that's the way we started. So that when the 9 months is complete, which is really the 12th month, and then the baby is born, the baby is still a spiritual being. So what happens is when the baby is physically born, it's still a spiritual being, because it's not relying on the external sun, and it's not relying on the external atmosphere. It's not breathing this air or needing this heat. It's using the internal sun, and you know it's not breathing because it has gill pouches. Otherwise, how could it breathe underwater in that amniotic fluid, right? My water broke. Right? That nigga stewed to the gills. All right, but what the doctor does is turn the baby, he cuts the cord. Baby's still a spiritual entity. Just having fungus clinging to the light, but it's spiritual. When the baby gets spanked on the butt, that pain causes the baby to cry, right? And when it cries, in order to cry, it has to inhale this oxygen and this air. And in that second, that oxygen, which is flammable, you don't want to light a match around it. you have that internal sun inside of you, the part of God that's a light, a fire that's inside of you, a smokeless fire, in your solar plexus. Just like the solar system has the sun in the center, that's that fire that warms up and gives life to the planets and everything. In the solar system, your solar plexus has that sun in there, and so does the atom beneath, as above, so below. Have that quark in the center of it with electrons in the first and second K shell. They look like a microcosm of the solar system. But that quark is the energy inside the atom that keeps everything else alive and warm. Well, that fire inside of you is why you can burn calories, or why you can get a fever, or why you can get hot when you think about that person that did you wrong. That internal fire. Or why you can get burn. Or you can exercise and burn calories. It's proof that there's a fire inside of you because when you inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide, that's a sign of a fire burning, period.
If you take a sip of whiskey, you feel it too.
Yeah, you can feel it with that whiskey because they call it ethanol. You're right. And that's fire water. That's what Indians call it. Now, let me say, when you inhale that oxygen as a baby, which is flammable, it also has the second or prana in it, the life-giving force that sustains the body and gives it animation. You inhale the oxygen through your pyro or your nose. It's shaped like a pyramid when you look in the mirror. And it goes into your circulatory system of your blood, which is circulating around your body like the planets go around the sun. And the electrons go around the quark. You have a circulatory solar system with the planets going in a circle, and you have a circulatory system with the planes going around the circulatory system of your body. So you have 7 planes in your body. Then you take the word plane and put an ET on the end of it, or just put a T on the end of plane that spells planet, right? Or PLAN space E period T period of plan ET, right? Planet to terrestrial. Now, when that oxygen, which is flammable, goes around there and it finally hits that internal sun, it ignites a spark. Like when you turn the key in your vehicle and the magnet generates a spark to start that, ignite that gas and start that tumbling. The piston starts that tumbling. That spark inside of you, when that oxygen hits that fire, sparks and it begins the tumbling. When you inhale and breathe, your body starts going in and out like an engine, moving. And that spirit binds to the mud of your flesh to create the living soul. And that's your 0 time reference on earth. That's when the first day of your birth, right then. You become like this part of this realm like everybody else. You become trapped into this realm like everybody else. Until the separation. And then you go back to your long home after the body stops. And you don't breathe anymore. Then your spirit is freed, your soul is freed, you go back to the real you. It's not over. Over just means above. That's all. Go ahead.
So the spirit goes back to where it comes from. Where the soul goes to?
Let me qualify that. Not every living soul is going back to heaven. You got some souls, and you know them just like I do. They're negative beings, right? Okay, well, negative beings, they're not going to go to heaven. Because if they were in heaven, wouldn't they create lies and chaos and evil and be blocking truth and being rebellious all the time?
Yeah, they were saying where it is here, right.
Right, assholes. And now, so, there's no more space found for them in the heavens, right?
Right.
That's what made it necessary for a hell to exist now that never did before the advent of them, the ugly boogers. So those of you that are asleep in this, so shall you be in the next. You're not taking that booger attitude to heaven. It won't go in there.
Now, when you say the next, after they die here, where
after they finish, what I'm saying is your spirit and soul, is that the real you? Yes or no?
The spirit and soul is the real you. Yeah.
That's right. So now, okay, that it is a vehicle. A car body is just like your body. But after you drive it so long, you start thinking that you've been in this body. So, see, when a baby is born, Terry, it gets frustrated when you try to give it an apple and it reaches over here and the apple's over there, or it try to walk and the feet get tangled up, right? And it'll start crying because it's frustrated and don't know how to operate this thing. Like for you, when you try to drive your car for the first time, you were squeezing the steering wheel too much, you was hitting the brakes and the gas too hard, jerking back and forth, sweating and all this.
Right.
You know, but after a while, it became second nature to you, so you could leave home and end up at work through traffic and all that, and you don't really, you know, women drive, popping gum, talking on the phone, and putting on makeup and all, and they don't miss a beat. Well, you got in that body, and you couldn't even walk, untangle your legs, and reach for an apple, but you got so good that you could write with a pen and draw portraits, and you got so good that you started thinking the body was you. You became so comfortable in it until it gives you pain, then you regret. But I'm saying, you really start thinking that is you, and you got trapped in the mud of your flesh. You were a fallen angel. You became physical. Just a shade thing, a Satan. Clay. That's called the fall of man. While the other angels still maintain the ether vapors. Are you following what I'm saying? They never fell down. They never dropped. They're still their expanded giant self.
So, everybody don't even have a soul. So let me stand that up.
Well, let me say this. You have people that have a soul. Now, there's a lot of black people that do things that really make you know that they're soulless, right? Because if they had a soul, which gives them the ability to have compassion, if they had a soul, they couldn't do the evil and wrong and negative things they do, right?
I hear you. Which is, now just asking about the soul. The soul, I know the spirit.
It's all the same. There's really no, let me say this. There's no difference between the spirit and the soul except the rate of vibration. The soul vibrates on much faster. Are you following me? So if you look at it, let's do this. Let's take a simple substance everybody familiar with, like water, H2O. At room temperature, it's a liquid. So if you pour it out of the glass, it just drops to the floor because it's affected by gravity, correct?
That's right.
But if you pour it in a plastic tray and put it in a freezer, and it's so cold it starts to slow down the vibrations and the molecular, and it takes on the form of an apparent solid like teeth and bones, right?
That's right.
And then if you broke it out the tray, it would fall to the floor just like water. But if you take that ice and put it in a pot on a high fire on a stove, as it heats up, it would raise up the vibration because of the heat, right? And it would start converting from a solid into a liquid. And eventually, if you leave the heat on, the water will start converting from a liquid into a spirit you call steam, right?
Right.
Now, would that spirit be affected by gravity like the ice or the water, yes or no?
No, it wouldn't. It would float up.
No, because it wouldn't fall, it would raise up.
That's right.
This doctrine I'm teaching you is your heat. It would ascend. And if you kept the fire on long enough, the vibration would, you can see the water turning when it starts vibrating, it's oscillating fast. But if you let the fire on long enough, the steam and water and ice will be gone. You say the pot is empty, Amun, there's nothing in there. Right?
Right.
But you can't get nothing from something. It's only energy in transit. Right? Because when the steam gets so hot and vibrates where you can't see it anymore, it's converted into ether. Okay. Right. And you can't even see the ghost station or you can't even see a ghost. Right? But now if you want to bring it back down, like angels ascending and descending up and down Jacob's ladder, which is your spinal column, turn the fire off. And when the kitchen cools and condensates, you can start seeing the ether convert into little drops of moisture all over the kitchen. The walls is expanded now. But if you could conceivably scrape up all those little dewdrops all off the floors, walls, and ceiling, and then stick them back in the freezer and slow it down again, you can convert the ether back into ice again, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. So you see, it's all, there's no difference between soul and spirit and ether and all these things. It's just a rate of vibration. People with a soul have a tendency to always be hot, while people with a reptilian nature always have a tendency to be cold. You see them old reptilian men, them old reptile men, they always have all big flannel shirts and long johns when it's 90 degrees and 100 degrees outside. In the wintertime, they come inside and you have the floor heater on and they got their hands behind their back, rocking in front of it, and you can't even breathe in the room to the paint peeling on the wall from the heat. You can see the waves coming up. But they're talking about, that feels good. That feels real good right there. You see that? You know, old grandpa that bust that egg and drink the raw egg. You know, snakes love eggs. He's a reptile. You understand what I'm saying? Cold-blooded reptile. They need that heat bad. Well, me, I sleep with an air conditioner, a fan, and all that on in the wintertime most of the time. Yeah, all the time. Right, I do, you see. Because I'll overheat. You follow what I'm saying? So I'm more of an Ethereal or a soulful being, like in the pot under the fire. And I'm far away from that cold, hard thing in the freezer that don't have no compassion or emotions, not this dead, ugly, cold thing. That's what gives demons the ability to do ugly things to a beautiful class like this that's really helping people to realize and remember who and what they really are. It's noble to get this kind of information and ascend up into a God, rather than condemn people by lack of knowledge or relevant knowledge into the realm of hell forever, just to follow your stinking butt. You follow what I'm saying? This doctrine is your heat. Remember that. But go ahead now, Terry. You can turn your information any kind of way you want to get everything you need from me. What's your next question? I like where you're going.
Yeah. All right. Somebody else will have a question. You answered my question, though. I was thinking about one thing you said a long time ago about... Go ahead and ask your question.
All right, got it. Speak up a lot louder, please.
So this question is not for me. We actually are going to have a new person joining. I got them to join. They're busy at the
Bless
moment.
their soul. Welcome home, family. Go ahead.
But his name is Alexis, and he gave me the questions that he wanted to ask because he's not here right now. But his first question was, what does consciousness have to do with awakening?
Everything, Ryan, because if you're not conscious, you're dead to the world. You're deep sleep. You're under a spell like a devil. They're in a paralysis, a spell. They don't know where they are or what they're doing at all. They're lost, cut off from the vibrant source. Their cast-off records, all the information, they're cut off. Because if they think intellectually that they know everything, they don't know anything. Because the first thing they have to learn is there are no such thing as things like spacecrafts and cyclotrons that they make. You know, like it's just the whole man. This whatever they're talking about, the things they know are not like their body. It's just an illusion that adds to the confusion. The devil is a fool that's sleepwalking in a veritable minefield. Seriously. And it won't be long before Big Timber's falling. They're going to step on the wrong cow pad one time here. And then bye-bye devil, because once their physical body is gone, that's all of them, because they don't believe in all that soul and all that. You follow what I'm saying?
Okay. The next question is, why do we tend to dream and forget?
Well, when you go to sleep at night and you raise up in vibration, when your physical body, your brain, and your carnal body goes to sleep or slumbers, your spirit and soul and etheric aspect, the real you, never sleeps. You know this because that's how you see things in your dreams. Because the aspect of you that's the real you is never sleep or hungry or tired. Well, when the physical, the devil, you know, the carnal brain and the physical body, when that damn thing shuts down, the spirit that's been wrestling against it all day.
Is it anything dying?
Let me. Okay, the spirit that's been wrestling against the flesh all day, and I'm in there talking to myself whether I want a pig foot or a salad. The spirit raises up in vibration because now it can act freely on the flesh because there's no more combat from the physical body telling it get the pig foot. You don't need the salad, right? So when the spirit acts freely on the flesh, let me explain this first, Doc, please. When the spirit acts freely on the flesh, it'll drop down to the base of your spine as a ball of light, and then it'll start traveling up the base of your spinal column. That has nodules in it, like rungs or steps in a ladder. And that it has 7 planes of chakras. The lowest seat is the gonads in a man, or the cervix in a woman. And then the abdominal seat, then the navel seat, then the lotus breastplate. The chest is the midway point where Malekith is, or the realm of the angels. Then the light travels up the light cord of your spine to the 5th plane, the throat area, then to the 6th, the pineal gland, or the 3rd eye, and 7 to the crown molar up here, all the way to heaven, 7 heavens. Then when that ball of light gets up to the crown molar in the top of your head, because God lives in that temple, which is not a building down the street, but the place on the side of your head next to your ears and your eyes window to the soul, that ball of light raises up in vibration, that ball of light raises up in vibration at the top of your head, and it causes that etheric cord that was part of the umbilical cord, that's still the spiritual part that's still there, that connects you to the oversoul. It's a thin, transparent, hollow tube about the diameter of a thread that's attached to the top of your head. You know it's there because white people can do ice skating and go in circles, and they never get dizzy. But you could turn around and circles, and then you'd be stumbling and falling all over, because you're tangling up your etheric cord that it connects you to the soul. Right? So that ball of light goes up to the top of your head every night, and it raises up in vibration at the mouth of that tube, and the vibrations cause it to expand in the opening till it becomes wide enough, like a woman dilating to give birth. And then that ball of light can travel out of this temple into that hollow tube. And that's what people in near-death experience describe as going through a tunnel. That's that tube. And then once you're outside your body, you're a free spirit again, and you feel like you're flying and floating and all these things in a dream and all that. You really are. And then when you get through traveling wherever you're going, because wherever you concentrate, the focus on, you're there. But when you get tired of that, then all of a sudden you want to go back to your body. That ball of light slides back down that etheric tube like on sliders. And it'll pop back into the top of your head and reanimate your flesh with life. Now, if you try to move too quick, you'll find that until you can't move. It's called sleep paralysis. A lot of people say it's a witch riding your back. You have to be asymptotal patient enough to allow that light to travel back down the light cord of your spine, a Jacob's ladder, so it can properly be seen in the solar plexus to trigger electrical impulses to twist the muscle so you can start operating your fingers and hands. And eventually your toes and feet so you can stand up and operate that car body again. So the light is the life in man, not the shell, which is nothing.
So how do you remember the question? How do you question? Wait, 1 second. She's saying why you don't remember your dream though.
Okay, let me explain why. The reason why, you do remember your dreams briefly when you first wake up, you remember some of it, but every second that passes you forget more and more. The reason is when you're out there in the spirit, you can go anywhere you want to and do anything. You can fly, you can walk through walls, you can do anything you want to. It's so interesting. You start living a higher life, but when you drop back down and then you trap yourself back into the mud of your flesh and you're trapped in it, and you wake up, sometimes you wake up kind of foggy. It takes a second for you to remember, because you don't hardly know where you're at sometimes. And you got to look around and you be, I got to go to work, I got school, and you jump up and run to the bathroom. Sometimes y'all be standing at the toilet to urine because you're trying to figure it out. You don't even know what it is, until you get some coffee and you wake up and say, I gotta go to work, I gotta go to school, I gotta go to this, I gotta do, you start. So when you start coming back to the reality of what you are, and you start remembering your bills and your responsibilities and your physical body, you might have a pain here, then you start focusing on this again. And you forget about all that out there, because to you it don't really mean that much now. Only thing you worried about is that pain in your goddamn back or your tooth, and that you don't want your lights and gas to go off because it's winter time. You're thinking about getting to work. You're thinking about you got to urinate. You're thinking about you need to get something else. You don't remember now. You got a stomach and it's hungry. You need something to eat, and you forget about all that out there.
after your like you said, the ball of light. After your ball of light travels back up your spinal cord and you come back to the physical, you start to worry about physical things more because you basically tap yourself back in the blood.
You get preoccupied with the carnal reality.
I have one more question. I know a brother or sister said they had a question. I have one more question. And
okay. Salahuddin, give the child one more second, please. I'm coming to you and give you all my attention. I love you, Salahuddin.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Alexis's last question was, what is life without physical form?
Everything. There was life before the physical body. It's life afterwards. Because when a woman is in the throes of death, and then the doctor pronounces her dead, he puts a mirror under her nose, and he checks her pulse, no signs of life, then he'll cover her up with the sheet and turn to the family and say, well, she's gone now. Mm-hmm. Gone doesn't mean the end, it just means she's no longer there. She's in that same realm you were in when you were dreaming, because sleep and death are brothers and sisters, because dreaming and the spiritual realm or being dead is the same spiritual realm. Only difference between dreams and death is that in a dream, you come back down, slide back down that tube, and go back into your body again.
Is that why,
but now, wait a minute, let me say this. But now what you call death, no, wait a minute, don't get me. But death is different, because when you leave out your body through the etheric cord, it's like when you're born. The elders cut the etheric cord like the doctors cut the umbilical cord. And then the spiritual you can't find its way back into the body again and reanimate the flesh. And you have to start a new independent life on the other side. And if you don't have any information I'm telling you right now, you're a lost soul. You keep looking for your body wandering the earth as a disembodied soul. You see your body in the coffin, and you get upset when you see it rotten with maggots and all this. You go to your friends, and you try to get them deaf, and your hand going through them. Some woman in the bed with your man, your children calling her mama, and she driving your car, got your bank account. You want to go in the drawer and get your pistol and bust a cap in her, but your hand go through the drawer? Or you in hell, because you're trying to be. You can't participate in this here for the lack of a physical body. You can't participate. And that's the hell of it right there. You see? All of your money and all that what you thought you was getting, and you sold your soul. You traded sugar for shit. That's what you did. You traded a sunrise for a sunset. That's what you did. Okay? All right, Lorenzo.
I have a question.
I'm sorry.
Salahuddin have a question in the house.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, man. I love you, baby. I hear a lot of tones. I see a lot of colors. I don't advance to a whole new fucking level, ball. No disrespect to Kenny, you know.
I'm glad.
My friend, but I have advanced to a whole new level. I see color. I see purple, green, orange, yellow, green, all type of color, all the spiritual colors. Are they still talking about this kindergarten stuff? I don't advance to a whole other level. Now I'm trying to do galaxies.
I understand. Me too.
Where my mind's at.
Exactly. Because they're trapped in the bottom. Because Lorenzo, Salahuddin, they're being left behind.
Yes, sir. I'm lit.
And they think they're going to acquire the heaven, but it's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. For the former things will have passed away. So they're going to be left behind with nothing.
Oh, man, I'm hearing tones and everything. They love me. The family's looking out on me and everything.
I know that, but the devil is not interested in that. They need money and power. They need a spaceship. It's something they can touch. They need
I can see it.
AI. They need artificial intelligence. They need big computers, and they need all that. They need trickery and deceit. They need.
Have mercy on.
Well,
have mercy on.
You gotta know they ain't gonna have no mercy on you. There ain't no mercy in them.
Exactly. So you know what to do.
There ain't no mercy in them. There's no love. It's a loveless creature, a soulless creature.
Why they still on the kindergarten stuff?
It is kindergarten, but to them, Exactly, but let me explain to you. As simple as slow down, don't talk over me. Now, what happens is they're majoring in minors. You know, when you go to college, you have majors. Listen, when you go to college, you have majors and you have minors. They're majoring in minors. That's what devils do. You see? They stuck on stupid, Salahuddin. Yeah, they lowered, they on sandbox.
We need him there. We need him there, though, you know?
Okay. See, devils are trapped in a physical illusion. So they can't ascend into a spiritual, soulful, etheric heaven. They can't go back home to Malachut with the rest of the angels that maintain the ether vapors. They're trapped in the freezer. They can always be shot or hungry or die. They can always feel pain. They're always exposed to hell. Because they're the very lowest of the low. Remember I told you? The physical form is as solid, this is as low as you can drop. You can't get any more physical.
Yes, sir.
Or time bound. So in that body you can feel aging, you can feel hunger, you can feel pain and sickness. You can feel a bullet in your back. You can feel hunger, lust, you feel all these things. All that things put you in hell. You see what I mean? You can go outside and you feel cold on your skin. You can get too hot, you get uncomfortable. You can have a toothache.
I was saying.
Yeah. The devil is in hell, a hell of their own creation. They're fallen angels, and I was, by the grace of the Most High that has compassion on them, sent here to try to raise them up off this earth, which is really hell. They were cast down out of heaven into earth.
I'm just saying, they're slow, you know.
Yeah, they were cast down. They were cast down to hell from heaven, and now they're vulnerable, susceptible to hunger and cold and pain and all these. They're vulnerable and weak. You follow me?
I had another question, but I got one more question I wrote down.
All right.
The question I had wrote down. Remember you said before, if somebody else try to cast a spell on it, like a witch or something, but you don't believe in the spell. If somebody try to cast a spell on you, and you don't believe that, and you don't believe they can cast a spell on you, will it still work?
No.
I wouldn't. Now the witch that casts a spell on somebody, they believe it's going to work, though, the witch.
Well, let me explain something to you. When you mean good intentions towards somebody and they have evil intentions towards you, the evil energy that they send you is repelled by your oversoul, and it goes back onto them. And they just get eviler from their own evil energy, you see. But it doesn't affect you in any way. You follow me? But what they have a tendency to do is try to catch you when you're compromised and your confidence is down. A lot of devils will surround you like little bitches, and like ants on an elephant, they all take one little bite here, and they have no idea how many little ugly bastards like them, thousands of them are on you, from the doctors to, all, like crawling little maggots all over. They're all swarming and taking little bites out, and then your distraction, sometimes little things get through every now and then. Say it again.
They can run like a mug. I said, don't they lay it bend back, and they make a little sound, they make a little lift.
Well, a lot of times these devils, what they do, and it's not physical at all. It's like touching stars. They could be in another state or another.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Why they so ugly like this?
Because they lie to themselves and tell ugly is beautiful to them and evil is fair seeming. See, all demons always got a right reason for doing the wrong thing. They have a good reason for doing these things. You hear me, Jeffrey Dahmer? They always have a good reason for doing the wrong thing. The devil's mind is shot. It's a crippled, ugly little piece of shit in a punch bowl. And nobody wants to drink because there's a little ugly thing in it all the time. You follow me?
I follow you.
That's why you can't have them in heaven, because then they'll be smearing shit all over the walls in heaven, all over the place. Ugly little bastards. Go ahead.
All right, so when a new heaven, say there'll be a new heaven and a new earth, and the whole earth, everything passed away, will it still have religion in that new world too?
No, it won't be no religion. Religion is a lie.
Right, I know. That's what I'm
Religion is an opiate that the devil uses to hypnotize the masses.
Okay, so the new world, the new heaven and new earth, religion will be no more.
You dock with now, then, those of you that make it. And then when you know it's time to go outside and move these stars, disciples. The reason you know you'll be docking with now is because now you know. So in the past, when the Jehovah's Witness came to your house and you let them in, they started talking a long time with all their pamphlets and all that. You start listening to a few things they said. You said, wait a minute, they got a point there, point here. But when you really know, I don't care who come to your door, it could be Elvis Presley or the Pope, you know they full of shit because you really know now. You dock with now. And because now, you don't just believe, now you know. So you have no need. Okay. You have no need of belief or faith or religion anymore.
They look ugly like that, though.
Huh?
But they really look ugly like that. I seen them how they look.
Yeah, they are ugly. They are ugly. They're ugly and cursed. They curse in many ways, but they don't know they are. And even if they know they curse, then they just get eviler. Even if they know they curse, they get eviler about that and more resentful because they had more want to create because they figure he created them cursed like that. But they never take responsibility for the fact that they're a part of their own ugly thoughts. You got it? And their thoughts are that out of line with the infinite reality. You follow? And they're really ugly little people, little creatures. You got it? Fallen angels or shadow beings, black shadow beings. Okay? Time for everybody to move stars. Okay, we're going to be first.
Yes, sir. Am I here now? Move.
Okay. Now look up in the top of the sky and tell me when you see a star.
The moon, baby.
You see a moon?
I see a moon in Meridian, Mississippi. Okay,
we're going to move the moon. We're going to put your face in the moon tonight. Move to the left in the name of Amun-Re. For Salahuddin. It's moving to the left. Okay, now move to the right in the name of Amun-Re.
Moving right.
I love you. Sure. Now move up in the name of Amun-Re. Wait. Just tell us what you see, Salahuddin. I can't talk and focus now. It's going up. Now we're going to start putting your face in the moon. Now put Salahuddin's face in the moon. We're going to move it in a circle, clockwise.
Can you see my hand?
I can put your hand there instead of your face if that's what you want. You want your hand? Let's not talk so many words. Do you want your hand in the moon instead of your face? Yes or no?
I want both of them.
Listen. All right. Then I have to make you smaller. All right? Okay. The question is can you see that good?
I got good. I got 20/20 vision. Yes, sir.
That's good now. I know your larynx works real good. Okay.
This is Kim from I see the eyes and the nose.
Okay.
I see the aura around the moon getting brighter.
I see him too.
Hey y'all. Hey.
Yeah. How you doing?
I love y'all.
I love you too. Who's that talking while I'm working? See, I'm working while you're talking. That's not good. We don't want to be the thing that we say we hate. That rebellious, noisy, blocking the truth devil. That's what they do. They make noise over everything divine. They block it out and block everybody out. Okay. So we got Salahuddin and the moon.
Look, I think he's smiling.
Yeah, I'm glad you can see him in Florida. Salahuddin, people see you in Florida and around the world there.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. It's a beautiful thing.
It is. All right, Ryan.
I'll go, Messiah.
Okay, what you see in Florida? What do you want to move?
I said, I'll move the star.
Okay, you see, when y'all make noise, and these little demons, they try to jump out the punch bowl and spread their shit energy all over everything. You know, they're encouraged by people that mess up the class talking over me. Don't do that. You just call it snakes. Remember, these are maggot turds, and they like confusion, and they thrive in stinky, ugly atmospheres. Ammonia. They love that. Okay, Kim, go ahead. What are you going to move for us?
I'm going to move a star.
Okay, I see it.
In the name of Amun-Re, the Messiah, the one only true Messiah. Star. Move clockwise.
Going clockwise.
Go clockwise. In the name of Amun-Re, the Messiah, the one true Messiah. Star. Go up. Going up.
Going up. Moving up.
In the name of Amun-Re, the Messiah, the one only true Messiah. Star. Drop down. Drop it down.
Drop it down.
Moving pretty fast. Got a little speed behind it. In the name of Amun-Re, the Messiah, star. Move up.
Going back
Moving up.
Going up. Yeah, it's going up. Nice. Thank you, Messiah. Tallahassee. Love you.
I love you. Okay, now, Lucas, what do you want to move tonight?
Thank you, Amun.
I love you.
I have the bottom right of a left of Orion. Okay.
All right.
I have to go
So you gonna move to? Wait a minute. Everybody getting a little wild because you can hear people talking over. Don't do that. Just slow down. So we're gonna move the whole Orion constellation. All right. But we're gonna let the guys start be the bottom right hand side. So which way you gonna move?
Yeah. In the name of Amun-Re, move up, and it's moving up.
Moving
up.
In
the name of Amun-Re. In the name of Amun-Re, drop down.
Dropping down.
Yeah, we're dancing a little bit. In the name of Amun-Re, move to the right.
It's moving right.
It's moving to the right.
In the name of Amun-Re, move back to the left.
Moving to the left.
All around. In the name of Amun-Re,
remember I told you about that, Lucas? Don't focus more on how it's moving around than you keep talking about what it's doing when you ask it to do it, please.
In the name of Amun-Re, move closer.
No, it's moving.
It's coming closer.
In the name of Amun-Re, move back.
It's going back.
And it's going back.
Moving
in
back.
the name of Amun-Re, move in the clockwise circle. And it's moving clockwise.
Clockwise circle.
Clockwise.
Tell how Messiah, move your song.
I love you a lot.
I love you.
All right,
I love
Ryan.
you a lot.
Okay, Ryan, I love you more. Ryan, what do you see in Pennsylvania?
I see a few stars. It's a bit cloudy, but I can see them.
Well, which one are you going to move? Pick one out and then tell me what you're going to do with it.
All right, I have my eye on one. Do you see it?
Yes.
All right, in the name of Amun-Re, move to the right.
Moving right.
Moving to the right. In the name of Amun-Re, please go up. Going up.
It's moving up.
Moving up.
In the name of Amun-Re, please come down.
Dropping down.
Dropping down. Dropping down.
Dropping down. In the name of Amun-Re, please move in a counterclockwise circle. Moving counterclockwise.
That makes you go backward in time, Ryan, I got to tell you. All right. I love you. And bless you for staying in class. I love you more. All right, Keith Amun, what are you going to do tonight for us in Tennessee?
Just a minute.
And I tell you right now, I love you for posting up that post over and over again. I send exceptional blessings on those that's posting up posts and Twitter and Facebook, because I can't get in Twitter or Facebook right now. I need people to go and, again, create new emails and passwords for Twitter and Facebook.
Okay.
Would you all really do that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Do not let the devil hinder us right there, okay? Because the devil is not trying to propagate the truth. They're trying to block it, cut it off. You follow me?
Sir.
All right.
All right, I see a star above my head.
All right, I see it.
Okay, in the name of Amun-Re, move clockwise.
Well, clockwise.
This is moving clockwise. In the name of Amun-Re, drop down.
Dropping down.
Going down. In the name of Amun-Re, move to the right.
Moving down.
Moving right. In the name of Amun-Re, stop. Thank you, Queen.
I love you.
Love you too.
You gonna be all right. I feel all that. All right.
Amun-Re.
Yes, we need your testimonies. All you all write your testimony tonight. Don't stop sending testimonies and posting the post. Please don't stop. Yes.
Yeah, this is more.
Yeah, go ahead. Your package is ready.
The people upstairs, my neighbors upstairs.
We're going to get that out of your throat, too. Go ahead. Come in.
The neighbors upstairs were talking about me, and I kind of felt it. So they allowed their daughter to go somewhere with us before Christmas, right? And and then when we came back, it was like nighttime. And when, so the daughter came, then she came back outside and said, can you move a star? I heard you can move a star. So I moved the star for the daughter. And I didn't know she gonna go upstairs and run and tell her mom. So mama came back downstairs, saw me standing there, and she ran up to me like I was crazy, right? She looked at me with like a crazy look, and she was like, move that star right there. And I said, there's a lot of fuzz around it. I said, there's a lot of fuzz around it, but I can make it move for you. As soon as I moved it, right, she was like, wait a minute, do it again. And I moved it like to the left, because her mom was thinking corner-minded, so I made it go left. I said, all right, let me make it go back to the right. She saw it. Then I make it go back one more time and go up. She said, how's you doing that? And then she looked at me and said, I thought you was crazy. Because she like, I heard about you and I thought you was crazy. And she just ran upstairs and told her husband. And ever since then, they've been looking at me like, this dude is really who he is. And I'm like, it ain't about me. It's about the Messiah. But I just kept telling, I've been trying to tell them over and over, man. And they respect me now, though. They let me have my parking space and everything.
But I understand. I want you all, listen to me. Use your phones. I want you all to write your testimony tonight and post up all the posts like Kiefer Amun is doing, and like the ones of you that posted. I saw Salahuddin that did some posting too. I see that Ben Carre posted quite a bit. I love you. You got to be there for us, not me. All right?
Yes, sir.
And all you got to, okay. You got to, and we all here for you. Send for your package. Those that don't have one yet, send for your package. Seriously, you do need this. There's a lot of stuff out there that you don't want to deal with. Take my word for it. I love you all. I really do. Okay? And some of the listen, hold up. Some of the combinations of these herbs come as far away as Ghana and Africa. You see, they're very expensive, so make sure that you get these things, because I can't guarantee I can always get it to put it together like it is now in its most potent form.
Okay.
So be you not deceived, beloved. All right. I do love you all. And let's get this thing rolling. Peace.